today I will discuss about week 4 material, political authority. First, I will talk about what is political authority. When someone has authority, it means that, first, according to Max Weber, a human community that successfully claims the monopoly of the legitimate use of physical force within a given territory. Politics as a vocation. State has monopoly of the legitimate use of force. The state is the only authority that can use force in a legal way. One of the reasons why police have authority, we gave them authority in the first place. When we are citizens, we pay taxes. Taxes used to pay the police. It's kind of we give up some of our right. If someone has power, doesn't mean she or he has authority. But if someone has authority, she or he definitely has power. The next one I will talk about political authority. What is political authority? The hypothesized moral property in virtue of which governments may coerce people in certain ways, not permit to anyone else and in virtue of which citizens must obey government in situations in which they would not be obligated to obey anyone else. According to Michael Humer, from The Problem of Political Authority. Summarize, authority is something that's abstract and it has moral, deals with right and wrong. Kind of property that government is allowed to tell you even to force you to do things. Political authority has two things. First is political legitimacy. It is the right to rule. Two is political obligation, is duty to obey. Political authority, or what gives you the right to boss me around. Source of the legitimacy is different. For example, Kim Jong-un and Jokowi. Jokowi get authority from elections, while the Kim Jong-un from political dynasty. Total 6 forms of government. First is monarchy. From mono, it is mean king or queen. Monarchy is one person control everything in the state. Example, North Korea, Dubai. 2 is tyranny. Tyranny is evil leader, so tyrant. Example is Hitler. Power concentrated in one person, ruled by one person. 3 is aristocracy, ruled by few. Sharing power with elites. Elites or noble. They care about the people. There is bad and good on the leader. Example is President Suharto. 4th is oligarchy. Oligarchy is ruled by few, but not so good leaders, steal from citizens. The next is polity. Polity is the ideal Greek state. Citizens can vote in every aspect, also can speak. Everybody is just a man. Woman is property of the man. Only are the people who citizens, more elite than democracy, people who vote that people who ability. And last is democracy. Ruled by many. Democracy is the worst form of the state based on Aristotle. Mob mentality, majority wins. The next one is I will talk about divine right. Divine right is the oldest source of political authority, still used in theocratic regimes and in religious settings. Currently viewed as an obsolete source of authority. Example, Ayatollah is viewed by the representative of Allah. The next example is Iran and Vatican. Then, next one is natural law. Natural law is legitimacy and authority come from being the most powerful individual within a society, or primus inter pares, often linked with tribalism, social Darwinism, and patriarchy. The next one is democracy. Democracy is legitimacy comes from the people who vote for their representative. Hence, the mandate of the masses give legitimacy. Note. The next one is I will talk about three sources of legitimate authority. There is charisma, legal, rational, and traditional. First, I will talk about charisma. Charisma, we trust people who has charismatic. Example, President Sukarno, Che Guevara. The next one is traditional. Traditional is adat, religion, and the last is legal rational. Legal rational is authority come from law. Example, UUD. Where does obligation come from? Cons- Consent of the governed. You have decided to elect the leader in one way or another. Hence, you are obliged to obey. What if you didn't have a say in it? If we cannot prove we have an obligation to obey, political authority cannot exist, not like signing the contract. Result, the person who gets best result is people who are listened to. It is all about meritocracy. Who should have political authority? The idea of democracy. The people have the largest political power. Political legitimacy comes from consent of the governed. Government is simply a reflection of the mandate of the people and have authority because they are legitimized by the people. How does legitimacy work in a democracy? In democracy, it's impossible to everyone speak and be heard. So when people they show their consent and give the authority to a representative government. So the people that have political authority in democracy system is the one who run the government. The citizen transfers the consent to government. How the citizen transfer the consent to government? First, people vote their consent. Then, form representative government. Then, institution check government. Then, loss of legitimacy. The Condorcet's argument. Crowd make better decisions than a single voter. Hence, democracies make better decisions than non-democracies. Two heads are better than one. More heads are better than one. But do more voters really make better decisions? What if they were manipulated? What if they were motivated by their own interests, which come from a disagreement of what the common good is? The issue of voting. Does voting reflect interest or preference? If everyone were truly equal, why can't everyone vote? Why should we allow people who know nothing of politics to vote? This is the response. First is the response is from Rousseau's response. There is he responded that Condorcet's argument will only work if everyone is educated to a certain degree. They need to know what the common interest is. De Tocqueville's argument against democracy. In democracy in America, de Tocqueville noted the tyranny of the majority. If 51% of the people agree to kill Javanese, is the decision legitimate? When it says it legal, it doesn't mean it also morally correct. It's democracy problem. Then is Plato's argument against democracy. Plato vehemently distrusts democracy. Craft analogy. Would you trust an engineer to perform surgery on you? Plato, philosopher king. A ruler who has a love of wisdom. Their rule is legitimized because they are the ones who are capable of addressing political issues. In favor of the philosopher king, its modern form is a benevolent dictatorship. Think Singapore during Lee Kuan Yew's rules. The next one is challenge to authority. Anarchists think that any form of authority that bases itself in the monopoly of violence is inherently legitimate. There is Epicurean style communes, syndicalism, and extra anarcho syndicalism, etc. Epicurean state is when we imagine like living in the dome and decide the power, divide the work, and so on. When do people lose political authority? Political authority is not eternal. People lose authority when their source of legitimacy or obligation runs out. In democracy, people lose their authority because the time is run out. Political authority can be legitimately challenged. There is coup d'etat, just the military take over the government. 2. There is impeachment. We don't trust you anymore, then go out. 3. There is vote of no confidence. The example is mosi tidak percaya, stop what they are doing. And the last is there is popular overthrow. Popular overthrow is revolutions. It's hard to gain authority but very easy to lose it. Conclusion from that I were talking about week 4 material is first, political authority comes from both legitimacy and obligations. Resolving both exists is necessary to establish authority. 2. Who is supposed to govern is still a relevant question today. I think that's all I can discuss today. Thank you for watching and bye.